I'm having the time of my life. This is not your typical Lisbon video with the same tourist traps and travel couples eating pastel de nata. Today we are going to explore the real Lisboa the right way, through the eyes of a local who has lived in Lisbon for more than 60 years, a Lisbon native who grew up in Canada and recently returned to Portugal, and me, some guy named Dave in Portugal, an American who has been living in Portugal for the last 2 years.
Sou escravo dos teus carinhos, essa minha primavera.
Today we begin with a place that couldn't get any more Portuguese than this.
What's up, my man? Yeah. How you doing? Bon dia. Good to be here, my friend.
In Lisbon and in any place in the world, people waiting outside a restaurant before it opens is a good sign. If you've watched my channel, Mário may look familiar to some of you, and he's brought me here to try something very special.
So I've been coming to this place for 20 plus years. So this is a real hole-in-the-wall place known only for the locals.
Another sign that you're at a good Portuguese restaurant are the paper tablecloths. Mário has brought me here to try one of the most famous dishes in Portugal, codfish. Here they call it bacalhau, and this is alagareiro, which basically means drenched in olive oil.
So this is basically grilled. The bacalhau is grilled. The potatoes are boiled. A lot of olive oil, a lot of onion, a lot of garlic, and a lot of coriander.
And the famous batatas murros, which basically means punched potatoes, smashed potatoes with olive oil drizzled all over them.
That's perfect. That's the best bacalhau I've ever had. You're right.
And a good Portuguese lunch is not complete without a jug of vinho verde, the famous Portuguese green wine. This is a light and dry white wine that just accompanies seafood perfectly. And if you really want to be like the old-timers, then pour some aguardente in your coffee. But don't pay any attention to the label because most traditional Portuguese restaurants have a homemade batch on hand when requested. But be careful because aguardente loosely translates to firewater. If you've been watching my channel, you might have seen the video I did about the 12 things not to do well in Lisbon. And one of them was not to ride the Tuk Tuks. Well, I received this really long comment from a Tuk Tuk driver who wasn't too happy. But at the end of the comment, he offered to take me on a Tuk Tuk ride around the city to change my mind. So I took him up on that. And that Tuk Tuk driver was Mário. And I featured him in a Lisbon video, which has since got more than 200,000 views. And we have become good friends ever since. Tem dias.
So you uploaded the video at like 9:30 in the evening, Portugal time, and like 1/2 hour later, like or 90 minutes later, my phone went absolutely crazy. It was like bing, 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 messages pouring in from Messenger, from WhatsApp, from emails. Everyone wanted to book me. Thank you, thanks to the video. All of this is your fault. See? And this is just Facebook Messenger. If you go through WhatsApp or through my email, it's the exact same thing. Loads of people just reaching out, trying to book me. So I never anticipated how impactful would be my role in that video. It absolutely. I was overwhelmed. It's like I never thought people would like me so much and they would look me up so much, and so thanks to you, dude.
Glad to hear that, man. Literally, I can't tell you how learning some Portuguese has helped me here in Portugal so much. It's literally night and day when you put effort into speaking Portuguese from Portugal. Not that they don't understand Brazilian Portuguese, but if you're a gringo trying to speak some broken Brazilian Portuguese, you kind of look like a goofball. But there aren't many language apps or courses teaching you Portuguese from Portugal. Even Google Translate gives you Brazilian Portuguese. But luckily, I found Anita's Portuguese MasterClass. It's one of the best I've found out there. You can do it at your own pace, and she's literally one of the best teachers for Portuguese that I've been able to find. It has helped me so much, and there's a link in the bio if you'd like to start learning Portuguese from Portugal today. Trust me, it makes such a difference with the locals. By the end of this episode, I will be accused by some as a digital nomad capitalist who influences gentrification, a communist socialist sympathizer who betrayed the United States and the American dream, an apologist for American imperialism, but hopefully a citizen of the world just trying to make sense of it all. Here goes nothing. I met up with Mário, Ricardo, and Ricardo's wife Hema at the Edward VII Park, which features an incredible labyrinth garden. But we had no idea the adventures and trouble that were ahead of us.
So this is where the Portuguese species comes to hide when they are trying to escape the very hot weather.
So right now we are inside of Estufa Fria, which means the cold greenhouse, which is basically where plants that can survive in colder weather. One of my favorite things about Lisbon is the incredible gardens and places that you can take refuge away from the sunny days in the summer. All I want in life is just to live in this house. Is that too much to ask?
Oh, fuck off, Dave. That's my house.
Me. Okay, can we take a right here or no?
I think you shouldn't, but you can.
Shouldn't.
Considering that you are turning Portuguese, you're not allowed, but you can.
Okay, once it turns green, right? Is it green?
I can't see the light.
No, there's people walking.
Someone will honk.
Should I go?
Wait.
Okay, here we go.
See?
Now it's it.
Turning Portuguese, I think he's turning Portuguese, I really think so. Ta-ra-ra-ra-ta-ta-ta. Turning Portuguese, I think he's turning Portuguese, I really think so.
Turning Portuguese, I think I'm turning Portuguese, I really think so.
Lisbon is now one of the top destinations to visit in Europe and has become one of the most expensive places to rent. I actually think this is where Michael Fassbender lives. I'm just kidding, Mike. You can't talk about Lisbon without pissing someone off. If you talk to vacationers, digital nomads, and retirees flocking to Lisbon, they will tell you how Lisbon is one of the cheapest cities to vacation in Western Europe, with lots of sunshine, general safety, and rich cultural heritage to explore. But if you talk to the locals, they will tell you a different story. A story of how the authenticity is vanishing and the city they once knew is losing its charm. Many locals can no longer afford to live in Lisbon, and they blame the influx of foreigners on the current housing crisis, which is currently the most inflated in all of Europe. More than London, more than Paris.
It's not as if it was an unknown or brand new problem. Barcelona had gone through it, Paris had gone through it. It could have been anticipated when Lisbon became the new trend. They could have thought, they could have looked at what had happened in other cities, other mass tourism cities, and that's the root of all the problems that we are having now. They could have came up, I don't know, I'm not a politician, but they could have came up with some basic rules about Airbnbs, about housing, about all the problems that are actually giving us so many problems right now. And now there are too many Airbnbs and not enough houses for people to live in. And people are being pushed out of their neighborhoods. The neighborhoods that they had been living in all their lives. So I think they should have anticipated it. They didn't. They're trying to solve it now. They're reacting. Well, I guess it's better than doing nothing. If you walk through Lisbon, you see dozens of buildings falling apart. Use them. Use them.
Yeah. Who owns the buildings?
That's the problem. A lot of them are owned by the government itself. Now people are turning to the tourists, which are not actually the people that are responsible. They're doing the natural thing. I mean, I like to travel too. I went to Thailand. I don't know if me going to Thailand or me going to Brazil caused any problems for the locals there.
Right.
Maybe it did.
Where do you see Lisboa going?
I hope Lisboa is not going anywhere. It's pretty well right here. I know.
What's the next step? What's the next?
Finding a way that will allow locals to come back instead of turning Lisbon into a Disneyland. Who wants to see typical neighborhoods without the locals in? But like I said, we have to find a balance. Not, as we say in Portugal, nem tanto mar, nem tanta terra. Not the 8, not the 800. Okay? In the middle.
So afterwards, Mário looks over at me and says, I have one tuk-tuk ride booked for today, and I have to do it before I can meet back up with you guys. But he says, do you want to come with me and surprise the people? They booked me through the video on your channel. So I was like, why not? Let's do it. All right, so we're in the Tuk Tuk Central right now, and we're gonna go surprise some people that learned about Mário and are taking a tuk-tuk ride through my channel. They have no idea that I'm gonna be in the tuk-tuk when they get picked up.
Pretty much what I do every single day in, day out. This is my daily routine.
Is this them there?
Yeah. Well, this is the hotel. I have a small surprise for you.
Hey guys! How you guys doing? Very good to see you all day. How you doing? Hey, very nice to meet you.
On the video.
Yeah, how you doing? Is it okay if I
had lunch together?
is it okay if I join you guys for a couple stops?
Of course.
Just a couple stops. Where are you guys from?
Florida.
From Florida, nice.
Sarasota. But
Sarasota.
Yeah. But I'm originally Puerto Rican from Venezuela.
Ah, cool, amazing. Well, I'll join you guys for the first couple stops before we go through.
All right.
No problem. We'll be like YouTube sensations here.
Yeah. You guys okay with that?
I don't have
all
a
right?
problem.
So, how long have you guys been in Lisbon so far?
2 hours.
For 2 hours.
And I DJ.
And you're a DJ too?
Yeah.
Amazing. Hell yeah.
That's how they
and I play drums and I play music and stuff. But
Oh, you're a drummer?
Yep.
Me too.
Yep. That's
I
my
love playing
passion.
drums. I play drums, play guitar, bass a little bit. So,
cool,
and
yeah.
what kind of music do you do?
I do Latin and some rock, because in Sarasota, since most of the people are from Michigan,
Yeah.
in Ohio, and they're retired, so they like the classic rock and blues stuff. Obrigado, Lisboa.
The avenue, which is down there after the statue, and the Baixa neighborhood.
This is Monumentos.
Marquês de Pomares.
And this is where I'm getting off.
All right.
Getting off here?
I'm gonna get off here and continue the journey. It's so nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah, muito gusto.
Nice to meet you.
Same up. Get the vibe again.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Okay.
It. So nice to meet you guys. Take care, Mario. Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Have a
Hey,
great
enjoy
day.
the rest of the
Thanks
day.
for that video. That's how we connected.
Amazing. Hey, well, thank you guys so
Take
much.
care.
You're in the best hands. So.
Oh, I know that.
All right. See you guys later. Enjoy.
So, at a certain point, the Portuguese had the biggest empire on earth. It was the first global empire. It stretched all the way from Brazil until East Timor, which is across the street from Australia. For a long time, the Portuguese ruled the seas. They had the exclusive of the spice and the tea trade, and they made a huge amount of money out of that trade. Of course, with plus the gold and diamonds that were coming from Brazil, they allowed us to build very luxurious palaces, and this one, Ajuda's Palace, is one of the best examples of that. The Portuguese were the first Westerners to go to Japan, and for a long time they were the only Westerners allowed to go to Japan. They called us Nambanjin, which meant barbarians from the north, and it gave birth to a kind of subdivision in art called the Nambam art, in which they depict the Portuguese as they saw them, with huge noses and even bigger mustaches.
When telling the story of the Portuguese Empire, it is important we don't overlook the dark side. The Atlantic slave trade began in 1444 when Portuguese traders brought the first large number of slaves from Africa to Europe. In 1526, Portuguese mariners carried the first shipload of African slaves to Brazil in the Americas, establishing the Atlantic slave trade. However, it is very important to mention that Portugal proudly claims to be one of the first countries to abolish slavery in 1761, something that took more than a century later for the United States to follow.
These are some of the best moments in Lisbon when the sun is setting on the Tejo River. This is what Lisbon feels like to me.
Every time I come into this city, it's like coming home. It's the best feeling. The people in it, they make you feel like you just come home. Like, hey, how are you? Welcome back. Being born in this city, I feel like I'm integrated into it automatically. And I've seen the difference from when I was a child to now. But it always seems familiar, like nothing's changed, but everything has.
So, what can I say? This is my city. This is what moves me, what makes me happy, what makes me proud of being Portuguese, especially this area here with its connections with the Portuguese maritime expansion, the glory days of the Portuguese history. It speaks to my soul, you know, like I couldn't be prouder of being Portuguese and being a Lisboner. I think this is the best city in the world.
I'm super lucky to be here. Thanks to everybody who has welcomed me. Portuguese people are amazing. And for the people that, I'm sure not everybody wants me here, but I'm still really happy to be here. And I'm going to do my best to leave it better than I found it. Thanks, Lisbon.
And of course, before dinner, we're on the search for a beer and some tapas.
Newsflash. In Portugal, we don't say tapas, we say petiscos.
These are not normal sized beers in Portugal.
Bon appetit.
If you find that you don't like Lisboa, it's because Lisboa didn't like you first.
So I got an invite for this super trendy, well-rated restaurant in a really happening neighborhood in Lisbon. And I said that we were gonna be filming a video for 24 hours in Lisbon. This would be a perfect time to come try out the food and feature in the video. They were super excited about it, and we booked the reservation with them. Beforehand, I had asked them if we could film candidly on our way into the restaurant and also film, behind the scenes of the kitchen, the chef doing his thing. He's a really accomplished chef in Lisbon, and they were all about it and said, no problem. So we get there, and it takes us forever to park because there's no parking in this part of town, and we're super hungry, and we're ready to get all foodie-doody. So I gave my camera to Ricardo's wife, Hema, who was going to film our candid entrance coming in so it looks authentic and doesn't look fake. And we start walking into the restaurant. Now, I'm not gonna show the restaurant or name them because that's not my style, and it wouldn't be cool to put the business on blast. So we walk through the front doors, and before we can make it halfway across the restaurant, this guy who ends up being the owner meets us halfway in the middle with this angry and kind of confused look on his face. He asked us if we have a reservation and why we just walked in filming in his restaurant, which is understandable if he didn't know what was happening. I told him that we were invited and assured him we had a reservation, and so they did end up taking us to a table and sitting us down. But then we kept getting questioned by the manager of the restaurant to confirm the reservation, which I showed him the email of, the corresponding emails of the restaurant, and he says, can you get up and step outside and talk to me real quick? And
I felt like I was in grade school and the principal was calling me to the principal's office. And the owner comes up and says to me, "You don't have a reservation, sir. You guys have to leave." At this point, I was just flabbergasted by the whole situation. And I looked over at the other guys and I said, "We gotta go." We do this walk of shame through the restaurant in front of all these patrons, and a few people recognize me from the channel and says, "Hey, there's Dave." And we get outside and I apologize to everyone for putting them through all of this. And I say, "I can't believe this happened." And Mário calmly looks at me and says, "I do, it's Portugal." But we later found out it was just a communication breakdown. The marketing person that worked for the restaurant didn't communicate to the restaurant to tell them that we were coming.
But alas, luckily Mário knew exactly where to take us, his favorite seafood in all of Lisbon. This place is like a frickin' arcade for seafood lovers.
Ridiculous. Wow. Oh my God. Well, I'm in heaven.
Who takes you to the best restaurant?
You did. So basically, these are goose barnacles. They have like a crazy shell. They look like a claw, but they're super good. They're really weird. They have like this, but they're delicious.
Ricardo and Hema live in a small village along the Silver Coast, about 50 minutes drive north of Lisbon. They do an incredible restaurant out of their house called Pey Masala, which is a fusion of Indian and Portuguese. I was pretty much addicted to Ricardo's pulled pork the first time I had it, and being from South India, Hema makes vegetarian and vegan thali dishes, which is one of my favorite cuisines on the planet. Hema is also a certified yoga teacher and masseuse, and I can verify myself she is one of the best. There is a link in the description below to their Facebook profile if you happen to be on the Silver Coast.
We have a private dinner service where people make reservations. We make mostly Indian food, but we also make other dishes that we come up with. And that to me is in essence of Portuguese, right? Where you're making food for other people, right? So meeting my wife took about 500 years. It started off with a good friend named Vasco. He got on a boat one day and ended up in a beautiful, magical land called India. Sure enough, 500 years later, we forward 500 years, and there's a Portuguese guy sitting in Canada. Unbeknownst to him, he's going to walk into a meeting room and set his eyes on the most beautiful girl in the world.
After moving to Canada, I got divorced, and I found that I had to work very hard to keep myself going, and I fought and fought and I worked hard to get to the top. And somewhere during this time, I met my future husband Ricardo, who has been a pillar of support to me. And when we moved to Portugal, the one thing that I found that I got in Portugal that I did not get anywhere else was recognition for what I did, the appreciation for what I did. And I found that in Portugal with the Portuguese people. Even after a yoga class, they are so happy that I have taught them yoga, and that makes me feel very happy.
Every time I see a McDonald's in a historic building somewhere in Europe, it makes me sick to my stomach. Don't go to American franchises in Lisbon, come eat here.
I work here for 30 years. It's part of my life. We work a lot to try to keep the customers satisfied as much as we can. The quality, the way to serve, it's authentic. It's authentic. It's the same for 40 years. I do always my best, I can say so. I chose one life. To keep that life, I need to get some money, like everybody. We need to work hard. I'm not unhappy. I'm precisely the opposite. I'm happy because I can do that. I'm thankful to God and to my wife who support me every day. The best part of the day is when I come back every day, every night. She's waiting for me, and this is the best a man can reach. I feel good with that. I'm waiting for everybody and the people you can offer to us. It will be an honor.
So guys, what do you think we should get into?
I'm too tired.
After this meal, I think
It's time for
ready
bed.
to go to bed.
To sleep?
Yeah.
Thanks for the great
Thanks,
day,
Dave.
guys,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Boa noite.
Boa noite, boa noite, boa noite.
Ibiza, bitches! We're going to Ibiza, bitches!
I'm just kidding. I am still Dave in Portugal and I'm not going to Ibiza anytime soon, but that doesn't mean there won't be an Ibiza episode coming in the future. If you want to see more content about Lisbon or Portugal or living in Europe in general, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. I'll be posting videos like this every single week on this channel. This is some guy named Dave in Portugal, and hopefully we'll see you next time.